Sure you have enough food. We will get ready to start the show. I'm looking at the AV folks. Are we all good there? I'll make a quick announcement. If anyone needs translation services, we do have headsets in the back. So if you would like to have tonight's event translated, please go see one of the lovely ladies in the back, and they'll get you all set up. Just a reminder to everybody, are we good to go with AV? We're good to go. All right, well, that's a great reminder that we are live streaming tonight. So be on your best behaviors, and we've got everyone watching online. Welcome, everybody. I'm Lisa Huff. I'm President and CEO of the Adams County Regional Economic Partnership, or ACREP. A lot easier to say, a lot easier to remember. I'm very excited to be co-hosting this event and this town hall tonight with everyone here. So we will move it on and get going right away because we do know there's a Broncos game a little bit later. The night's going to go like this. We'll all do a little bit of announcements and things going on with your county government. Then we'll have an open Q&A and get some feedback from all of you in the audience. And we'll do that a little bit back and forth. Then we'll have some time for wrap up and also visiting the resource tables outside. I hope you either got a chance to look at them on your way in or will later this evening. Great resources that are available to you from a variety of departments at the county and also ACREP. So with that, we're going to wrap up in time for the Broncos game, but let's get started, Lynn. Commissioner Baca, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Commissioner Lynn Baca, the 2025 Chair of the Board. I'm going to let each board member talk here in a moment. I want to welcome all of you. This is our first business town hall event, at least since I've been on the Board of County Commissioners, and I'm on my 5th year right now as reelected in 2024. So it's so fantastic to not only see business, we have higher ed, we have some of our economic development, federal representation, as well as some lobbyists, but most importantly, all of our businesses are here to listen, to ask your questions. We want to be attentive to all of you. How do we make Adams County better as partners, as regional partners? How do we make business better? How do we start workforce development, not start, but continue workforce development with our higher ed? We can give you an update on the Colorado Air and Spaceport. Lots of new businesses are signing up out there. One of them is McAir. They're going to do some pilot training out there. So they're coming from Broomfield. I'll just say Broomfield had an interesting news article over the weekend in their airport and congestion. So please relocate at the spaceport. We have Brian Fallon with Rocky Mountain Rail, which is a neighbor to the spaceport directly south of us. So also in the room are a lot of our directors. I can't say all because I'm trying to do a head count here. Our executive leadership team, County Manager Dion Stroder, see Deputy County Manager Kristen Sullivan, Senior Deputy County Manager Alicia Reese. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this night started. So the question for the board, quick intro of the players. So all of us, I just did that. The importance of businesses as part of the home team here in Adams County. And then one sentence, a very brief intro. I'm in District 5, I missed that part. One sentence connection to business community. So my connection to business community is my very first vote that I cast was whether or not should we allow Denver annex the land, which is now known as Denver International Airport. So I could tell you my grandpa was a vegetable farmer here in Adams County. He was an immigrant. So lots of different challenges there. At the time that that vote went through, Adams County was not in a really strong financial economic position. We thought growth would happen overnight. It kind of did, but then Green Valley Ranch expanded and growth between Aurora also expanded between here and Denver. So our time in Adams County really is now. So now is the time to be part of the home team. I really appreciate our economic development partners being here tonight. So I'll hand it off to our Vice Chair, Julie Duran-Mullica.
All right, thank you so much. Julie Duran-Mullica, District 1, also Vice Chair of the Board this year. My connection to the business community, I was born and raised here in Adams County, so one of the best things about my growing up was my family had their own business in real estate, and so we worked on houses a lot. So I'm the best painter in my family. I've also done lots of landscaping work, so I mean, I'll take it for what it is, but I think it's a great asset to this team of commissioners. So I'm going to pass it on to Kathy Henson.
Hi, Kathy Henson. I live in District 2, but as you all know, we serve at large across the county. District 2 is Southwest Thornton and Commerce City primarily. My connection to business is that the reason I'm in public service today was I became active with other citizens in the city of Thornton to advocate for the redevelopment and cleanup of the Thornton Shopping Center at 88th and Washington. And after several years of going to council meetings as a resident and talking about that, I decided just to run for city council, was elected to that in 21, and now am on the commission as of last fall, elected in 24. And I really do enjoy talking about revitalization efforts and cleanup because I see great potential in the areas that sometimes have been a little bit neglected or somewhat left behind, and that's a passion area for me. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Emma Pincher. I am honored to be here and one of the commissioners. I'm your longest standing commissioner because Steve is out today, and so we don't have our colleague Steve Odorisio, but you see his glossy headshot up there. So if you see Steve, you can give him crap about not showing up later. Many of us serve on different committees. I served for many years on this executive committee and helped Lisa Huff make the transition to what it is today. I also serve on several national committees, community economic development and workforce, as well as international economic development, as well as small business association for the region. And being connected to our business community, whether it's that international economic development or local, there's a lot for us to do. I also got called into City Council service on a redevelopment project that you might know as the Downtown Westminster project, or if you've lived in Westminster for a long time, the Old Westminster Mall. So happy to chat with any of you about that and density and economic incentives and how to grow a business district.
Great. Well, thank you. I think we're going to move on to our next welcome to all our other elected county officials. Unfortunately, we expect the sheriff and the clerk to be here. They're not here yet. But you can see all their faces up there. We include the coroner, the district attorney, the clerk and recorder, as I mentioned, the assessor, the treasurer, and public trustee, and Sheriff Claps. Hopefully they'll join us a little bit later, but there's some other electeds in the room. I noticed we have the mayor of Brighton, Mayor Mills, and council member Tom Green. Are there any other electeds? I was looking quickly, testing my memory. I don't see anyone else in the room, but thank you all for joining us tonight. Did I miss somebody? No? Great. Thanks to have it. Jackie Phillips, great. Thanks you for being here. So now I'd like to turn it over for some quick introductions to the rest of the executive team. Our new county manager, I think you are up, and why don't we share the mic out there with her? Dion Strode. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm Dion Stroder. I am the county manager in Adams County, and really appreciate everybody taking the time out of your busy Monday to join us and hear more about opportunities and challenges for business here in Adams County and what our county is actually doing to support all of you and to support the great economy that Adams County has. I did want to introduce really quickly a couple of members of our executive leadership team. Commissioner Baca already noted we have Deputy County Manager Kristen Sullivan, who's sitting right up here in front, Senior Deputy County Manager Alicia Reese, who's sitting right back there. We have our Chief of Staff, Lindsay Melke, who is way in the back. And then we've got a number of our department heads who are here to answer questions and share more as we go through the Q&A. And if our directors, so just raise your hands, we've got a lot of folks here tonight who are going to be helping us out with our conversation. So we really look forward to the conversation with you. And if you have questions, we want to answer those for you. And I'm going to start with one of our favorite department heads who's going to be helping us with the conversation tonight. And that's the director of our Department of Community and Economic Development, Jenny Hall.
Thanks, Dion. For those of you that I haven't met yet, Jenny Hall, Director for Community and Economic Development for the county. Something that I'm guessing a lot of you may not be aware of is it was about 6 years ago that the county moved to this integrated service model of community and economic development. And it's a model that has become increasingly common around the country, but the idea behind it is really to provide greater value in the service that we provide to all of you. So by putting certain functions under the same umbrella, whether you're coming in to start just developing a concept for a business, or you're trying to expand and you need some help getting your building permit through, or you've got questions about incentives. Those professionals all are under the same umbrella. So there's no wrong door. You can go to any one of us and we will help you navigate that and get quicker answers to your questions. I know that we've got some folks in the room tonight that have worked with us really closely on complex development or business projects. And so I'm really happy to have them talk about what their experience has been. This is, as you can imagine, an area of continuous improvement. We are always looking for ways to be more efficient, more responsive. How do we make sure that we make your experience better with us? And we do that in large part really through working very closely with all of our departments to make sure that we make warm handoffs, and then also with our partners like Lisa with AC Rep, with our Workforce and Business Center, and with many of our other economic development partners in the room tonight. So with that, I think I am handing it back to you.
I got it. Let's go. I was going to toss a football around, but you don't want to see us all throw right now. So, keeping with the tailgate theme and Broncos tonight, I'm definitely not Bo Nix, but we might try it later. So, AC Rep, as we mentioned, is really the Regional Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Organization that was created by the merger of the Metro North Chamber and Adams County Economic Development, Inc. back in 2020. Not the best year to merge two organizations, but we're doing our best and moving forward. I'm really happy with our partnership with the county. We work very closely as well with many of our local communities and our local economic development professionals who are in the room tonight. I also have several board members in the room. So if you're an AC Rep board member, would you just raise your hand? So, great, yep. Thank you for being here. AC Rep really focuses on being the business voice in partnership with our local communities here in Adams County. We work mainly with large primary employers to focus on 4 big advocacy areas: transportation, housing, workforce development, and energy. Our programs work to educate our growing sectors around the region, educate our community on hot topics such as aerospace, aviation, transportation, logistics, things like that growing. And we really work to support our existing businesses through advocacy and partnering, like I said, with our government partners in this region. Our whole goal is to build a vibrant and sustainable economy where everyone can thrive. So partnership's really key to our efforts, and I'm very excited to host tonight's event as a big partnership. On Friday, we also did a partnership event with the Workforce and Business Center and had a great speaker on work-based learning. And I know some of those folks from the Workforce Business Center are out here at the resource tables as well and sitting here in the room. So lots of great resources for you. So let's get on to the fun part. This is the part for you all our businesses in the room. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have a couple of questions on a Mentimeter, kind of get the temperature of the room. Then we'll transition to some Q&A. So I'll kick it off with one question, but then we have our handy dandy mic people who will be there to run around the room right there and get your questions. And then we'll hear from a business champion and take a break and let you think of some more questions. So we have lots of time to move ahead, but let's get started with Menti question 1. So use your phone, if you would, to scan this QR code. Are you in the way? I'm not sure, Commissioner. Nope. There we go. So enter the code or scan it, right?
You can go to menti.com and enter the code or just scan it and it'll pop right up.
Are we good there? Should we go to the first question?
I think I'm seeing a couple phones still up. Okay. All right.
So the question is, what are your biggest economic concerns right now? If you would type in your answer, we'll do one of those fancy word clouds. And hopefully we could start now. I see about 43 people online. That's great. Don't forget, we're live streaming too. Can the live streamers do the Menti poll? Great. Fantastic. We're seeing construction is down, cost increases, unpredictability. I think that's the word of the day for a lot of people, uncertainty. Inflation's growing. Oh, I don't mean to say that. I just said it's growing on the screen there. Workforce is also growing. That's good. That's good. Workforce. Incentives. Yeah, that word in the middle. Still growing. I don't know. Cost increases growing. Oh, gosh. I guess there's some work for all of us to do. There's lots of ideas up here. Housing. Housing's growing too. That's the right way to say it, right? Housing is growing. Actually, I did hear that some of our housing starts were up a little bit last year. So, cost increases, unpredictability. Let me look at the number here. 32 out of 45. So, all right. So we could talk about some of these things, I think, coming up here. So just to give you a heads up on some of the questions, maybe we could get your thoughts around some of these, commissioners.
You want our thoughts on it?
Yeah, we'll go down. We have another Menti question, and then we'll go to some Q&A. But if this is the temperature of the room, you kind of know what's out there. Pollution. Okay. Do we want to go to the next Menti question? What resources do you typically access for information for your business? So your choices are state or local government websites, regional, federal offices or regional office, SBDC, World Trade Center, membership organizations like chambers or industry organizations, federal agencies like the Economic Development Administration, IRS, the Small Business Association, or national or international conferences, local conferences or events, private advisory services, or other. Other could be maybe your news, your newspaper. There's 4 others there. Maybe higher education. Anyone want to shout out some ideas on other or let us know on that? That'd be helpful.
Library.
Library, yes, especially anything libraries. Anything libraries, yes, top there. So it looks like there's a 3-way split there between your government, membership organizations, local conferences or events. Seem like the big ones. 5 other. So, another 3-way split there. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, tonight should be up there as one of the ways that you get information. Is it a local conference or is it our state? Oh, I guess you're not a website. Yeah, it's a dense. You're not a website, no. Although you have a beautiful new one, I'd say. Yeah. So maybe we could kick it off based on the first slide. You saw some of the concerns that are in the room or in the audience here. So why don't you could all answer or pick your topics here, but what are some of your top priorities for our county and our businesses in our county over the next 3 to 5 years?
I'll go ahead.
Press up, yep.
I'll go ahead and kick us off. So the board did a retreat earlier this year. We've met several times. We're in our budget discussions this coming week. The board identified, I would say internally, one of our top economic priorities or business priorities is the Colorado Air and Spaceport. So for us, it's the spaceport. But to go back to the slide, when we kicked off our budget retreat this morning, we held it at the Government Center in our study session room, is we started off with the University of Colorado Business School. They gave their economic forecast to the board. Everything, literally everything listed there is what is of top concern for all of Colorado. So whether it's state legislature, I'd even throw in some federal policy in there as well. So one of my top priorities, and what I say when I go meet with folks, is that we're a very young county. Our median age is 35, so We have access to all of the interstate system runs through Adams County. All the railroads run through Adams County. We have the biggest airport, third largest, busiest airport in the world. All the land surrounding Denver National Airport is in Adams County. So I am going to focus on, we do this work, we are getting a little more tight with our budgets, is workforce development, is our young people. How do we connect our young people to good paying jobs? How do we connect our young people to manufacturing? That's going to be an attraction here in Adams County. I know as you drive up and down, whatever interstate it is, we have a lot of logistics. Obviously, with the interstate system, Rocky Mountain Rail, you have I-70. That matters not only as an employee of how far you're traveling, but really to get commerce across not just Adams County, but the entire state of Colorado. So transportation is another big one of mine, and workforce development, also Colorado Air and Space Board.
All right, thank you. You know, I think one of the things that is not surprising to see up there was housing. We talk a lot about housing in this region. It is by far the #1 issue every local government seems to be talking about these days. And so we've talked a lot about things that we could do internally around housing, around permitting. What does that look like for us? Now, one of the things I had in our conversation on Friday, I met some Huntington Bank folks, is talking about how does that permitting process impact small businesses? And what are supports that we could be providing some of these businesses moving forward, right? They're trying to open up shop here in Adams County, and how do we support them through that process? So those are definitely conversations I'm looking forward to continuing to have as I get to know these departments a little bit more, and that's the work I'm really, excited to pursue in 26.
Thank you. Yes, so to pick up where I left off talking about revitalization efforts in older areas of not only Adams County, but supporting that in municipalities, is really supporting small businesses because they're such a large employer across the national economy. Supporting small businesses, helping them succeed, and not just getting them started, but really helping them maybe through even their 5th year, just making sure that we have supports there, resources for them, that will help them really sustain and make that cross over into that area where they can continue to sustain themselves. So that's an area that I really want to continue to focus on. And as far as housing goes, we know that we have a need for more housing in our area across the nation, but certainly in looking at having conversations about some communities, each municipality does it their own way, and also we're looking at it internally, Adams County too, because we need to make sure that our permitting processes, our impact fees, everything is facilitating the building of the type of housing that we need. We want to attract great employers, but we need to have workforce housing for their employees if we want them to not just come bring their jobs to Adams County, but also put down roots and have their employees have the opportunity to choose to live in Adams County, all the way from entry-level employees up to executives. So we want to have a wide range of housing available, and that's a conversation that needs to continue to happen. Building density where it's appropriate, talking about that. And so as Commissioner Mullica pointed out, state legislature was up there as a concern. So those conversations, we need to make sure, and we've talked as a board about really making sure we're staying connected to our delegation, our Adams County delegation throughout the legislative session to make sure that we're being very clear about what we need and what it is that we can take on from their legislation, and being really clear about how we want to see some of that shaped. And those are conversations that are not going to be easy, but that I think are going to be critical to the future of Adams County, and not only in overall quality of life, but certainly in our business and economic environment.
Yeah, I completely agree with my colleagues. They've brought up transportation and workforce and partnering with schools, both higher ed and our community colleges, the trades, as well as our high schools. And all of these things are really important. In looking at the list, I cheated, I took a picture of your word cloud. Inflation, cost increases, housing, pollution, cost of living, unpredictability. I'm seeing a lot of things in here that are changing. And I think that's where the big worry comes from. In the years that I've had the opportunity to be on local government, what I hear most consistently from business is I want to know what's happening. I want to know what the framework is. How do I apply for a permit? What are the regulations that apply to me? And who do I call when it goes sideways and something happens that I don't understand, either in my business or in my application process? And that's why I'm really glad to be here today, because I feel like we can build that connectivity and transparency with all y'all and be available, and you can put a face to a name and an email so that when you have an issue, you can reach out to any one of us commissioner colleagues, and we will make sure the executive team gets you placed with the right specialist. Also having our specialists in the room to make sure that we're available and ready to answer your questions as you encounter them in community, because we understand, we're experiencing it too. One of the things I love about local government is that at the county we work full-time, we work year-round, we are here, we are consistent, we are here of service, and we love these great partnerships where we can be more accessible and transparent to make sure that our economy is thriving, our workforce is thriving, and y'all, our business community, are also thriving.
Well, let me follow up a little bit on that, but it actually applies to all of them. What is really the best way for the county to gather feedback from business leaders? You have a great new website, and I know you have some new tools that are coming there, but how do you all appreciate hearing from businesses about issues in the region? What's the best way, or best way for them to engage on different dockets that you have open?
Yeah, we'll start and pass. Y'all can reach out to us any old way. Our emails are available. You can email us and we will connect you. Also, you can come down to any one of our land use hearings and reach out then. When we get emails, we make sure to connect them up to our executive leadership team and get them to the right expert staff member, wherever that is in our departments. So I'm pretty optimistic about any way you can reach out to us, or being at these events where we're in partnership so that you can reach out to Lisa and her team, and she can also connect you up. It's really great to have strong partnerships where if you ask Lisa a question like, I don't know which commissioner, or I don't know how to reach out, she can help direct you as well. We'll take messages and communication and question any old way, in my opinion.
Yes, that's true. You can reach out to us in multiple ways. I mean, I guess it's kind of a question we have for you. I could to flip the script here would be, what is the easiest way? Do you find that we are responsive? That's, or via phone or email. Would you like to have more business town halls? This is the first time, I think Lynn said it, this is the first business-focused town hall we've had. Is this a helpful event? Especially since we're live streaming it, should we be having these on a more frequent basis? Because that certainly could be an option. So I really think that, like I said, we're available, and also constituent services at adamscountyco.gov. So you're all constituents, whether you're a business owner or whatever you want to talk to us about. That creates a record, gets that to our senior leadership team, and really will get you the quickest response. Maybe even quicker than some of the commissioners, let's be honest. Because sometimes we kick it to them. We're like, hey, constituent services, got this great question. So I will stop rambling, but I think that
Maybe.
I gotta say, I love this. I love that we're doing here. I love being here with all y'all. It's not our first business town hall. We did one in Waymire Dome about two and a half years ago, 3 years ago. And that's a long time ago.
On a hot topic, right?
I was on a hot topic. It was a niche issue. And we love doing State of the Region with AC Rep. We love having opportunities to be out in public. We want to do this again, but we want to have this on a more regular basis, but it is not our first business-focused town hall. Sorry, I'm the old timer. Every once in a while.
The only thing I wanted to add quickly is invite us to events that you guys have going on locally. We are engaged on many different chamber events at this point. Our calendars are always full with events, but I am interested in meeting you and understanding the work that you're doing in Adams County. So whatever forum that looks like, send an invitation our way. Or a tour. We do tours all the time too. I mean, it's just a great way to really understand your perspective in your industry and your concerns. So feel free to reach out with those invitations as well. I love going on those trips.
Well, Commissioner Bach, did you have? So I was going to say we could do some real-time questions right now. Let's take one from the audience. Does anyone have a question for the commissioners? Don't be shy, everybody. It's a big room. No questions. Hey, I guess you're doing a great job with the business community.
All done. All right. Thanks. We have to have one question.
No.
Tom has a question. I can see it in
No. Tom Stone, Adolphson and Peterson, do you have a question?
Tom Green.
Oh, Tom Green, no.
So you talk about housing. How do you figure out the challenges of entry-level housing versus affordable housing, which really is leading to the progression of housing, which is that constant role? How are you dealing with? Is it going to deal with housing? How do you deal with the entry level, and then not affordable, but entry level housing? Because that's not. It seems like housing in Adams County is completely out of control when it comes to the price of housing in the states.
So for the people on, so before you answer, for the people online, the question from the audience was really discussing the variety of housing needs that we have in the county and the progression of all the different levels and workforce housing and affordability. So how do you address that wide spectrum of needs? Is that right? Yeah.
I'll kick it off here, right? Because what you're talking about is the magic question that everybody needs to try and solve. We are participating in our own housing needs assessment through DRCOG, which you probably have heard about. I'm sitting on that group. Kathy is also. And so really shaping what does this housing needs assessment, it's a regional effort. Obviously, housing issues do not have a border when it comes to jurisdiction. It's a regional problem we all get to share. So the needs assessment is step one. Next steps are really talking about what are other ways that we are helping promote certain levels of housing, as Kathy was talking about before. What are ways that our own process can help support that? When it comes to more workforce housing, that also is in partnership with Maker Housing Partners. So that's our housing authority, and working with them to provide additional units in our community. I think those are little steps that we can make in the right direction, but the problem is we have thousands of units that we're short, and we need to figure out how to get them built. And that is one of the biggest things that I would love to hear, and maybe even having an entire session in just housing alone, is that conversation between our developers and our staff and talking about what are ways that, at least from a county perspective, we could help support, and things that we could do internally to help continue to promote that type of housing. I'm going to let other folks. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Part of this conversation too is we have to encourage the variety of housing. We have to talk about lot sizes. We talk about graduated impact fees so that we can make those houses so that those houses pencil out and that people can builders can't build for free. Ironically, what we did learn today is that actually we are 50th out of all states. After that big spike we saw in our property values rise in the last 2 years, we have the smallest increase in home property value, residential home property value in the nation right now. So that points to a little bit of stabilization, but we still have to increase inventory. We have to keep talking about construction defect. We have to start having condominiums are entry-level housing for so many people. We have to continue to hammer away at that until we get an actual solution. But in the meantime, we have to start getting creative with the things we can influence, like lot sizes, paired housing, supporting things that might make and buying a home a little more affordable for people as opposed to going straight to a McMansion or a single family detached with a large yard. So I think those are all conversations to have, and it sounds like some of the same old, but we have to start really talking about what we can do and talk with our legislators about that too, and promote housing. I go to a church in Broomfield where we built 8 apartments for emancipated foster youth. We're not a big church, but we had property and we made it happen, and that's 8 kids, but that's 8 kids every 2.5 years as they're cycling through, and we all know that property's out there. The Yigby build died, but that's a conversation we can have, and maybe, but also dirt starts need to be looked at as well.
I'll go and I'll pass it. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, cool. The hand signals didn't quite work. We're not on a football team. We don't have a book for hand signals.
Do you want me to hold up
Just trying to exactly. We need that. Call the plays. So I'm just gonna have a brief comment. I'll let our chair bring it home. I really love this question. It's spot on. It was obviously huge in our conversations and in the word cloud that y'all built for the conversation that we are having. The one thing that I would like to add to that is workforce housing and attainable housing are things that are really important for our community. Again, like when you talk about words, language matters. Housing that people can afford really matters. And I don't need a show of hands, but most of the people who qualify for affordable housing built by our housing authority make money. They usually make about $45,000 a year, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, and even $80,000 a year, depending on how many children they have. And I want you all to just quietly reflect how many jobs you have posted. This is a business town hall that are in those ranges, $45,000, $50,000, $55,000, $60,000, $70,000, even $80,000. How many jobs do you post? Those people need help finding a place to live. And many of the ways that they find help is through our housing authority and having housing that is affordable for them to get that stabilization and to start their careers. And that's what we want. We want people who are working to have stability, to keep their job, grow their children, be a good neighbor, and then move on from there. And having that stability in our society really matters. There's all the rungs on the housing ladder are super important for all of us to have a functioning workforce. I think one of the things that was really stunning to me, we did a salary study, an income study just a few months ago as a commission. And as a single parent, I have 2 kids. And I used to try to stump people, but like when we did the study, I'm just curious, just think of a number in your head of what the salary is to have a living wage, not a minimum wage, but a living wage where you're not on government assistance, single parent, 2 kids in Adams County. Just think of a number. It was about $120,000 a year. So I know many of you have jobs that are posted at less than that number, and you have workers and staff and colleagues and maybe yourself working at less than that number. So how we build a spectrum of housing is really reflective of the jobs available in our community, as well as smart density, as well as good regulations, as well as good planning and lot sizes and dirt starts and impact fees and everything. So really appreciate the conversation.
Yeah. So I believe that there's one thing that doesn't normally get chatted about, but it's the retirement and move out, right? I mean, to me, that's the biggest. I feel like there's no place to, yes, where are we downscaling in order to free up the bottom? Because I think that's part of the problem. So how are we dealing with that? Or is there visions of that, of how to move, me out of my large house and, whatever, but at some point I need to downscale. How are you addressing that? Because I believe that takes the pressure off the bottom, because then it starts to migrate. So is there something there?
You got this, Lynn.
So I think, I appreciate that question. I think there's state legislation to do the Homestead Act that you can carry your equity with you. I'm probably not using the right language there. The government is not going to step in, Tom, and oust you out of your house. That's overreach. There will be a mutiny if that happens. But it is a real thing. I mean, I just saw an article over the weekend. My parents are a perfect example of, they live in a house where they raise 4 kids. Whether it's paid off or not, they've been there for, a long time, 47 years. It is more house. It's enough house for the kids and now the spouses and now the grandkids. And they added a dog and a couple chickens and a duck, and the whole family is out there on holidays. It's too much house for them. But I also hear and understand that they would feel bamboozled when you look at interest rates, when you look at, there are no entry levels to downscale. There's no real market for them to downscale to maybe not even a condo, maybe it's a patio home, maybe it's a townhome. But then you get into, for them, like accessibility issues, like it has to be a ranch style. So I appreciate that. I'm going to go to the top of your first question, is we need to have some agreeable language. And I'm sure that there's definitions of, is it entry level? Is it affordable? Is it workforce, attainable? All of these different words evoke a lot of emotion. And I think what we're seeing is not in my backyard, because it's easy to be at an open mic, to provide written comment and say, those people. Those people are your teachers. Those people are your police officers. Those people are your kids that are maybe between high school and college, or maybe they're college graduates. I also see that in my family. So we need to have an agreeable upon language that we're gonna use when we look at entry-level housing and what that looks like. Julie and I also attended, I think it was the Metro Housing Coalition, the home builders, on Thursday night of last week. And Colorado, we're down, I think it was Colorado, not the metro area, we're down tens of thousands of properties that are needed. So we need to find a way. They had some great suggestions in the room of maybe the finishes on the outside of the house look different. So maybe we're not going for stone because that includes an additional expense. Maybe we do some different things, and that's something that we can do at the local level. When we talk about development standards overhaul, that's something that we are currently doing. We're going through that process. Zoning is another thing. That's what harpooned the recent development in Thornton, is that was a zoning change, if I understand. That was not even getting to approving the project. That was just zoning. And when you look at zoning, especially along the light rail, we want density. We want density there because density is going to drive retail, commercial. It's not going to maybe require you to have a car. You can just walk to the light rail, head downtown for your job, or catch another transfer to go to the airport, or whatever that would look like. So we are working on it, Tom. We're not going to move you out, but we're going to work on it. We continue to work on it. Yeah. And, I think, I agree. There's another question. Yeah.
Sorry, because Mike's in there. So back to what Julie was saying, as well as Emma, about moving or working with Meeker Housing. I used to sit on their board as a resident commissioner years ago. And I also live at Baker School Apartments. And we also have the townhouses going in, which are totally unaffordable for people that now, when we talk about the language, you say entry level. I'll bring up my son, for an example, 28-year-old autistic, still living at home. He's able to work in the community, but he also asked, can I live in the community? Well, I was looking at some affordable housing stuff that Rocky Mountain Human Services gave to us. He's not going to be able to afford that on SSI alone. And even when he's working, so it's like when I look at these, how is that going to be with Meeker, like the units, and how are we covering? Because we forget the people. These are the people that work at Walmart. These are the people that work, at 7-Eleven. These are the people that work at the gas station that keep all of the people who are going to work, gas, groceries, whatever. Those businesses open so they can get them. So I guess my question is, how, what, and we've been waiting for a long time and we're still here.
I don't want to put, thank you for that. I don't want to put any words in the mouths of the home builders. The challenge for, and Kathy touched on this, the challenge is not just the built-in, not the environment, the economy, all of that matters. It's also efficiency and effectiveness. And so the efficiency of, is it zoned correctly? Is it like, how can we also partner with home builders on, maybe it is a design change that can save, maybe it is something that we can look at differently as Adams County. And I'll just put it out here because I have a tentative council member from the city of Brighton. This board, Julie and I talked about it after that Metro Housing Coalition event that they had, is that it's really time we have what we call the AdCog dinner. So we meet, I get questions a lot. Do you meet with other elected officials? Yes, we do. Once a quarter, Adams County, all of our cities, mayors, city council members, their administrators, we all come together for a dinner. We've swayed a little bit away from the issues, but talking with Julie, talking with my board, a couple of mayors, is maybe that dinner needs to be issue-based and that we have an issue of talking about housing. Or Julie even brought up, maybe we do kind of like several in a row, several seminars in a row, so that we're all on the same page, that we have business in the room, we have home builders in the room, that we have the public in the room, quite frankly, of like, what is the need? What are the challenges of the builders? I mean, I know it's easy to say they're just making money off of us, but we have some really things that we need solutions to in Adams County. We can't do it alone on policy. We need partners, and part of those partners are the home builders, part of those partners are businesses. So, you know, I look at Thornton, that probably could have, that was a zoning change, but a lot of feelings around the project itself. So an ask for me is like, if you are seeing your businesses struggle, your employees struggle, that they're driving a lot to get to your place of work, that you maybe partake in a public hearing or a land use comment of this is why this is needed, and be specific that it's about workforce development for your workers, your daughter, whatever the case may be, postgraduates. But we're here to listen and learn as well. So thank you, Tom, and thank you so much for being here.
And able to talk about, Julie, you were talking about Maker Housing Partner, like opening up more spaces. What are you talking about there?
So Maker Housing, so really I'm referencing a recent project that was voted down in Thornton. This was only 81 units, right? So it's a drop in the bucket compared to the units that we need in the region. And it was a zoning change that needed to happen that failed the vote. And so it was heartbreaking because in the presentation from the developer, they showed who would be able to afford these units. And they talked about Adams 12 teachers. They talked about firefighters. They talked about police officers. So people that we rely on every single day in our community who are gonna be able to live in these units. So that's what I'm specifically talking about is, you know, Maker has these projects that they're trying to push forward. Really, we need to continue to support that work, but support it among our municipalities as well. So, you know, Adams County does not have land use determination over other cities, so we need them as partners moving forward, and that really goes to what Lynn's comment was, moving forward, working with our local municipalities to make that happen.
Or what about an unincorporated parts of Adams County?
We do an incorporated, that's it, so we're the team.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the housing where I live is there, but I'm just thinking
Yeah.
out in there, I just see.
Yeah,
I see that, I love those townhomes, but looking at the cost, like for, you know, 2 bedroom, like, what, it's all money, you
yeah.
know?
These are really great questions, but I'm going to be like Coach Prime and get accused of not managing the clock correctly here or something. So, you know, I think it's very important. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You're going to fire me, Coach Prime? What?
Never.
No, but we do have some other business champions in the room, and I thought maybe we'd call on Brian Fallon, who's CEO of Rocky Mountain Industrials. He runs the Rocky Mountain Rail Park out in our great new development area near the town of Bennett. Let's give a shout for Bennett. Lots of housing out there. Okay. Brian.
And a lot of jobs coming as well.
Yeah.
My name is Brian Fallon. I'm with Rocky Mountain Industrials. I appreciate everyone coming here today. This is a tremendous forum for me to speak. It's not every day that you get to sit in a room and thank the group at Adams County that has helped our project become a total success in Adams County over the last 7 years. I can look around this room, and over the course of the last many, many years, we have met with each and every one of you around what are, in some cases, very simple and in some cases, very complex construction projects, development projects. And I can sit here and say that I feel very fortunate and very glad that my predecessors purchased land in Adams County. It's not every day we get to do that. So Brian Fallon, the Rocky Mountain Rail Park is a 620-acre rail-served industrial park that's currently under construction. We are equidistant between Watkins, Colorado and Bennett, Colorado. So it's great to see some of the Bennett group in the room. We feel very passionate about where we are in Adams County. We're about 1.5 miles north of I-70, and we are the easternmost neighbor of the Colorado Air and Spaceport. So Jeff, I hope we're being good neighbors. You're always the best. We do appreciate being part of that logistics community. Our industrial park, as I mentioned, is 620 acres. It's 2 miles north to south, 1/2 mile wide. And what's really fun for us is at the end of this year, we will have completed almost a 4-year construction project, investing more than $100 million of capital into this project to help bolster the supply chain community, the logistics community in and around the Colorado Air and Spaceport and the eastern Denver metropolitan area, which we think is going to be a thoroughfare of growth over the next 15 to 20 years. So with that being said, I would like to, as a participant and somebody who works with the county often, I would like to say that as I talk to other developers, they only wish that their developments were in Adams County. And it might be, it sounds very simple, but accessibility, engagement, problem solving, these are skills that we rely on every day, every week, every month, over the course of a 5-year construction and development project. And Jenny, thank you for all of your help. It really is a pleasure to work with you and your team, as not only we're looking to develop our project, but even more now as we're bringing customers to the market and their engagement with Adams County and their ability to work quickly and work efficiently and get their projects out of the ground has been something that even is surprising to them as they work in other parts of the country, other parts of Colorado. And so as a business champion, I really am here to thank the group at Adams County. It has been a tremendous pleasure to work with each and every one of you. We've worked with, I will say this, almost every department within the county on some project, whether it was land acquisition, development agreements. There's just a tremendous amount of time, energy, and effort that goes into a project that we were looking to bring to fruition. So I think from that perspective, I'll tell a little story. Commissioner Baca, this is, we have a tenant, Archer Daniels Midland, that recently signed up for a land lease at our facility. And they had asked me, hey, do you think it would be a good idea to host a groundbreaking, and would it be okay if we invited some of the constituent from Adams County government? And I said, absolutely. They are a great group of people, and you should certainly do that. What happened next was tremendous. It was a groundswell of support and engagement, up to and including Jeff and his team hosted the groundbreaking inside one of the hangars at the Colorado Air and Spaceport on what was a tremendously rainy day. And the staff there bent over backwards to make sure it went off without a hitch. At the end of the groundbreaking, Archer Daniels Midland, the group from Pepsi that was there, they could not have been more impressed with Adams County, the team that was there, well represented. There were so many people there, so many people. They actually left, ADM left and said, we really feel like we are part of this community now. So that was fun to hear for us because it gives me the confidence to, across the table, make those introductions. It's one of the first relationships any tenant or company that I meet with. It's one of the first relationships that I encourage that they make, and that's with the group with Adams County. So I think there's a football game tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it to a close, but thank you for the whole team. Thanks for everyone. I appreciate the floor today.
Thanks, Brian. Well, we heard a little bit about what Brian found helpful. Let's see what the audience has found helpful or what they think are important in working with you all. So we're going to go to another Mentimeter question. And the question is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how important are the following services to you? And I'll read them. Hopefully you can see them on your phones. Navigation services to help with permitting and development, connections to state and local financial resources, networking opportunities, updates on construction activity and road projects, information on resources for childcare, affordable housing, or other tools for their employees, and support on innovation and entrepreneurship. So what are the most important things? I think a lot of these might be in your department, Jenny, so I know you're a very busy lady and your department is too. It looks like some of the top things are navigation services and permitting and developing. You know, I know that's always a lot of different steps, and I think Adams County's done a great job of bringing that all together. Networking opportunities, that's AC Rep. I'll put a plug in for myself. Yeah. But, you know, we partner with everybody. This is one of 3 events in the county in 3 days, but with the county. Tomorrow is transportation sector partnership, still time to network. Updates on construction, information and resources, childcare, affordable housing, other tools. I think that's really important for employees. We see that need too. So how are we doing on the numbers there? I think we've got a lot. And since we are running a little below on time, we are capturing these results, I believe, Nikki, but you know, those are a lot of different services, and it's great to get your input on what could really make a difference, like help people like they help Brian. We do want to move on to another quick champion we do have in the room tonight, and it's a newer champion, a newer partnership. Jack, I hope I don't surprise you by saying, I want to introduce Jack Buffington. He's with the DU Center for Excellence. And Jack, I thought maybe you could talk a minute or two. Where'd the mic go? There we go. As a PIO myself, a PIO alum, I'm really excited about this new partnership coming to Adams County. So
I'm not excited about this theme because my team got thumped by the Chiefs yesterday. So I came here to escape football.
Oh, sorry.
I know you all wanted the Ravens to win. We started a supply chain program at the University of Denver about 6 years ago. And before that, I worked in industry, running big supply chains. And I've always had this dream that Colorado would become like this major industrial hub in the United States and around the world. And so then Adams County and Spaceport came and asked us to create this partnership, and it was awesome, right? Because we all see the building that's happening out east. And the question is, how do we become strategic about it? So what we want to do is focus on some major industries that we see as having great opportunities for development in Colorado. We want to focus on workforce development and major projects. In fact, you know, Brian and I had a conversation last week, and so now I can see you face to face. And so this is really exciting to, you know, our role in this whole thing is kind of a conductor between public and private to bring things together. And we want to create an open source collaboration, so we don't just want it to be the University of Denver, we want to bring the other universities and research partnerships together. So I know we don't have a lot of time, so I just wanted to mention that, and I'd love to meet you all because, you know, we're really excited to be out here and work with you all, and really, really happy for the opportunity, so thank you.
thanks, Jack. Yeah. Jack's been really helpful too. AC Rep co-convenes something called the Transportation Sector Partnership, looking at logistics, supply chain, warehousing, and freight delivery. And we have a meeting tomorrow. It's a quarterly meeting. So I think there's flyers out on our table. But thank you, Jack, for helping us with those and be a thought leader there. I think we have a question now from the room. Shannon Hancock from 5 Star Foundation.
Wow, look, I get an introduction. Thank
Wait,
you.
let me throw the ball at you.
I can't catch. Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm the Executive Director of the 5 Star Education Foundation for Adams 12 schools, and we represent the largest school district in Adams County with over 34,000 students. And I will get to the point here. And I first want to make the point that our great public schools is what makes a great place for people to come and work and to build their businesses. And our investment in our schools is the best thing that we can do. But my question is actually a business question. And I wanted to ask the commissioners and kind of go, it's along the lines of what Tom Stone was asking about, that's talking about those entry-level workers. But what incentives or support can the county provide to local businesses to help create and expand paid internships and work-based learning opportunities for students, particularly in those high-demand industries that are coming into Adams County? I know that we've really struggled to find internships, and a lot of times we're hearing that they're cost prohibitive for these businesses here in Adams County, and we've had to go really far outside of Adams County to meet the need for our students. So what's the answer there?
I think that that's a great question, and I know that Adams 12 isn't the only one trying to solve this. We've met with the Westminster Public Schools folks a couple of times about their new Raynham campus, and a lot of folks are looking for more opportunities for internships. The biggest hurdle I heard is transportation. How do you get the kids to these jobs and opportunities? That's definitely not something that I have an answer for today, but I think that that's an important takeaway of continuing to support our kids who are eager to try new industries. The best thing that ever happened to me, especially as a college grad, was being able to get an internship, and it totally changed the trajectory of my career. And so getting hands-on experience is everything. Do we have other thoughts?
Yeah, I don't have a short answer to your question, but it is something that we can definitely explore as a commission to see what we can do as a county with our partners. We can talk to somebody like Jack. We can also, because we heard this morning in our beginning of our budget cycle meetings that we're having all week long, experiential learning is critical to future career success, and also people finding the career that's right for them to keep them, on a great career trajectory. And we know also that we're a highly educated state, but we know a lot of those people move in from out of state. And so we want to make sure that our Colorado kids are getting first bite at the apple at the jobs that are in our state because they deserve it, because we want them to be able to choose to live here and have a great career in the life that they want. So it's an excellent question, and it's certainly something we can lean into and talk about with our partners about funding and incentivizing that. The short answer is I don't think we already have that.
Can we also ask Lisa, partner in chief here?
Yeah.
What sort of strategies would you recommend for us to convene conversations around connecting our CTE youth and jobs?
Well, tomorrow we have a panel with CTE people talking about jobs in the transportation sector. What? And what? On Friday? Yeah. All careers. And on Friday, we talked about work-based learning and our goal of people leaving Friday's workforce development celebration was asking all the companies in the room to create just one work-based learning job. And I mean, Ben Franklin started it back in the 1700s, people. It probably wasn't that hard. He was an apprentice back then. But work-based learning, and we have people from the Workforce Center, like I said here, they can help you. Front Range Community College has resources to help people in your company who want to do work-based learning learn how to do it. So lots of options with lots of great partners here in the county, and we'll make sure we can bring everybody together on it.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, that's a great question. Just to go off of Lisa, is that what I love about this board, and Steve is probably watching online, is that we're very solutions oriented. We want to be efficient and effective because budgets are tight. So it matters to us how we operate internally. I think that resonates with hopefully the business community, our municipal partners that are here, is that efficiency and effectiveness. So what we've done individually is that we're building the ecosystem of bringing along our trade partners, our union, workforce development. It's just a matter of getting all of our heads together. I serve on the Presidential Advisory Committee for the Community College of Aurora, where they talk about workforce. We all serve on a number of different committees, associations. So we're building that network. We're in a really exciting time in Adams County because we do see a lot of growth. We did have one partner kind of identify a need, but it's still in the process. But hopefully we can strike a partnership with the Hispanic Restaurant Association. So as our students move from their CTE program or from a part-time job, that they can get immediately into something that is of their interest, that can sustain them, they can learn more as well. So I think that ecosystem is currently being built by the board. It's just a matter of getting all of us together in the same room to talk about that. But your suggestion of an employer taking on one, we're in budget season. I'm gonna ask my board if we take on one. Regis High School does a really great program of doing a paid internship. Rather than paying the student directly, there's somehow that it goes into a scholarship for them, that when they complete their internship, that funding will go to higher ed for them. But they get the experience of working in government. One student I did work with was part of the Secretary of State's office. She was also a tour guide at the state capitol, so she got to see all the state reps and senators. So it's really providing that workforce on-hands experience for our students.
Yeah. That's great. another big topic that we could talk about all day, but we do have to move on. We did get a pre-submitted question. It's a pretty easy one for you all. How do we bring more data centers to Colorado? Because construction, as you know, construction is a huge component of the local economy. Construction numbers have been down slightly so far this year, new starts, and data centers are a market that is currently growing everywhere. However, we're also, in Colorado, challenged a little bit, even though, like any other industry, technology is evolving every day. There are new and new ways. We had a development council meeting where we talked about different ways of cooling them that wouldn't take as much energy. So I don't know if you all have any thoughts about that, if you want to add anything, but that was one of our pre-submitted questions. Thank you, whoever employers in the audience answered that. But
Yes, thank you for that question. I think that there's so much work happening in this area, specifically at the state legislature. There's going to be a bill this next session specifically on data centers that we all should be watching and that this board is going to be engaging on. A couple of issues for me is thinking about the energy needs for these types of facilities, right? We live in a region now where frankly, energy is not as abundant as we hoped it would be. And so really being thoughtful about how these businesses are able to come into our community and obviously be able to have the energy to serve them. So I know that that's one of my biggest issues or concerns with data centers. There's lots of land use. There's water issues. I mean, you name it. I think, if anything, this conversation is actively happening. So it's something we're going to be engaging in. So, yeah, about this specifically. So I think there's more answers yet to come, for sure. Anyone want to add? All right.
Yeah, Commissioner Henson mentioned, I think, October 22nd, there's a study session. So that'll be either Tuesday after, what's the 22nd? It's a Wednesday morning. Yeah, great. So they'll be live streamed on YouTube as well for that one. So we have about 15 minutes left. Let me see if there's any other questions in the room that people want to ask of our commissioners or, I see a hand. What was that? Sorry. Okay, gentleman in the hat. Let's get the mic. Yep. And we do have some of our energy folks here too tonight. So, we're blessed in Adams County that we have 3 different utilities. So,
how's it going? My name is John Barreto. I just wanted to add to the data centers front. It really takes digital infrastructure to even create those. So that's something that the county has to consider as well as in the statewide level. And I actually have experience in that. If anybody does need help, I do that on a national and global front for CBRE. So thank you very much.
Great. Yeah, cybersecurity or security issues are another big hot topic, especially around our aerospace and aviation. So glad to have your resources here in Adams County. I think there's another question up front.
How you doing? So not to hijack any of this, but since state legislation came up as a pretty big concern, my name is Tara Mastracchio. I'm a legislative aide for Rep. Phillips, House District 31. And as soon as it came up, I started talking live with her, just chatting back and forth, and just wanted to make sure my position with the rep is community engagement, community liaison. So the idea is when you guys have a concern, I want to make sure you know that we are available for that. It's exactly what, and I actually don't know exactly what the concern is, so whoever brought that up, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to hear what your concern actually is. I'd like to bring that directly to the rep and see what exactly is on the minds of everyone in House District 31 specifically, or the state in general. But by all means, I just want to make myself available and let you know, that's why I'm here and that's why I'm coming here. And there is a lot of mutual engagement between the commissioners and the rep. And just let you know, anytime that I'm here, anytime you would see me, please come up to me with the concerns you have. That is available to you as much as I could give you a business card or whatever. When I'm here, please engage me in any concerns you have or any questions you might have. I'd appreciate that. So thank you for the moment.
I think, we have another question over here. Councilmember Green from City of Brighton. and United Power.
Yeah, guys. In this discussion, and we've had a lot of talk about the regional approach and the statewide approach that the legislature has imposed on us, but how do we protect that local autonomy and authority? You were bemoaning the issue on Thornton. That was a local decision, and the public was behind that, and they've come in repeatedly at city council meetings championing them for that. So again, I know it's nice to talk about a regional approach, but even as that issue of parking, where being dictated whether you can allow or authorize to have more parking than they want. Again, how do we protect that local authority and that local autonomy? I know when we're talking about this issue, we need to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's fair, right? It is a local control issue. And I think, at least from my perspective, one of the things I would really love to see is more community engagement on this particular issue. I know that hearing from the business community tonight, hearing from neighbors that I've knocked doors on in the past year, housing's an issue. We need more housing in this community, across all of our communities. So how do we solve that problem? I think it's also being able to have courage to make those hard choices and make those hard votes sometimes. At the end of the day, we need to serve the people that we're represented to serve, and a lot of that's housing, and we need more of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, not to go down the housing rabbit hole again, because we've discussed that and we only have a couple minutes. But there were also, the night I testified, and I was at 1 in the morning, there were almost equal number of people advocating for that project. There was community will, almost equal or equal to wanting that project in their community. So that was local control in action. The people spoke, the council heard from both sides, and they made a choice. Local control I don't see going away, but there is a tension that between the state legislature and local control, and the last couple of sessions. Last session was more productive than the session before, depending on how you want to look at it, but there has to be some agreement about our common needs. I don't think it's up for debate anymore about that we are underbuilt. Ben, help me. At unincorporated Adams County, we're underbuilt by 7,900, that's 7,900 housing units that we need to build by what, 2030 or 2035? 2030. So that's less than 5 years away. And we need 8,000 housing units to meet what we have. So we have to start having the hard conversations, and there have to be concessions all around and collaboration. Or we're not going to maintain the standing of our quality of living. We're not going to be able to. And we need, this is what Julie, brought this up to Julie today. We were talking, we have to get out of our silos. We need, I got to go on the Leadership Exchange program last week with the Metro Denver Economic Chamber of Commerce. And there were folks from higher ed there saying, and we pushed them. We said, great that you're giving DPS students automatic enrollment to, I think it's MSU, it's one of our great higher institutions of higher learning, but I don't want to say the wrong one. We said, can you extend that to Adams 12 or 27J? And they're working on that. But then we have kids who live in Brighton, who say, I live in Brighton, I want to stay in Brighton, I'm going to MSU, but it takes me 2.5 hours to get there with mass transit. So it's not sustainable. So am I going to stay in school? I don't know. So maybe higher ed comes in and says, hey, let's talk about transportation to help our institutions thrive and our students get the education they need to keep us, to keep Colorado moving forward. So we have to look outside of our own silos and see where all the nexus are of overlap and common ground, and we have to have hard conversations because this back and forth, we lose ground, and that's why we need to be really heavily engaged with our local, our Adams County delegation, and talk about the impact of the proposed legislation. We have to move on it quickly, and we need community members to get in there and testify as well. And so that's a key, critical role that AC Rep can play to make sure that you all know how we can best use your voices to help build what we need to make our communities thrive.
Thank you. Well said. That was good. Good job, Kathy. So just to add on to that, I completely appreciate the question, and you really covered where we need to be, Kathy. I think that One of the things that's really important when we work on a land use issue, whether it's for business approval or for housing development, context matters. Context is so important for what you're building and where you're building it. The right context along I-25 is not the same thing in the town of Bennett. And it's not the same thing when you have north or south. We're 1,000 square miles. We're a very big community. We have a lot of ground that we need to cover. Rocky Mountain Rail, y'all are perfect. You are perfectly positioned next to an airport, served by a major rail line along a major highway system for industrial work. That's absolutely perfect. If we tried to drop that same project in the middle of North Glen, it wouldn't work. It's not the same thing. Context matters. And you'll see us when we're working on a land use case or a business case that would enable a land use case that would enable a business, that we talk about context a lot. How are you served by transit? What is the workforce available? What are the surrounding neighborhood land uses? What economic development opportunities are we gaining by enabling this project? What are we losing by enabling this project? We have these robust conversations. It's real fun. It's Tuesday morning. It's great. You can come watch us. Come watch in person. Bring coffee. Bring coffee. But you see us wrestle with it because it matters so much. I know that y'all are asking about legislature, and that's great. I don't work there. I work here. I work for you. And I want to make sure that when we develop businesses, y'all are successful, well-connected, and well-resourced to do well. And that's what we debate when we work on land use and we work on business development, whether it's incentive packages or a land use change that would enable business development. And it's all about context and building for your community and making your community successful. And so I know that we're going to keep doing that work because this is a team that really cares about getting it right.
Great. Well, in order to keep us on time here, I didn't have the 2-minute warning and we don't get a 30-second timeout. But I do ask everyone in the audience, we're going to send a follow-up survey to all the attendees tonight. Thank you all for registering. And we're going to ask you 2 questions instead of doing the Menti, so we can leave some time for Commissioner Baca to do kind of the wrap-up in the last 2-minute warning. So I'm giving you your 2-minute warning real quick here. But we still want to get your input. We want to get your input. What are your housing challenges? We've heard about some of them tonight, housing, employees, things like, or your workforce challenges. We heard a lot about educating your own. How are you getting people there? We heard about needs for more internships or getting those kiddos prepared. I think, is it 2029 that every student needs to graduate from high school with either a certification, some kind of work exposure, or what's the third one? What? Concurrent enrollment with the higher education. So, that's going to be here before we know it in 4 years. So we really got to work on educating our own and building that workforce. So we're going to send you a question about that. We're also going to ask you for your feedback. Did this work? Did you like this format? Should we do it again? Maybe we could do it around topics. We're pretty flexible, and we could all move around some ideas here. So with that, Commissioner Baca, do you want to wrap up?
Thank you so much, first of all, for everyone for attending tonight. I know it's football night. I know you have families you want to get to and kid activities that you want to attend. So I just want to thank you for spending a couple of hours of your evening with us to talk about this important issue. Please know that businesses is top of mind for Adams County. So as we start to traverse different policy, whether it's federal policy or state budgets, that here in Adams County, Commissioner Pinter hit it right, is that we work for you as businesses. We work for you as constituents, residents, families. What is the best thing for our kiddos? Thank you, the Adams 12 Foundation, for being here. We can't do any of this work by ourselves. It's not fair. It would be completely out of balance if Adams County came in and said, we can solve all of your problems. It would be unfair if you all came to us and said, we know all the answers to your problems, and if you just did it this way. So what we're trying to do as being a board is, first of all, to be accessible. Thank you to our staff. So please take some time, talk to our staff, Jenny and the admin teams up here up front. Alicia and our departments are in the back. So we have parks that's represented. We have public works. If you have questions on transportation, but we can't do this work alone. And I think that that's the take home message tonight for all of you is please reach out. Please stop one of us after I wrap up the comments here. We want to build partnerships. We want to build a strong region. To start with my comments at the top of this is Denver International Airport. Growth is coming our way, period. So no matter what happens, we're going to see it. At the Metro Housing Coalition, developers are already concerned that they can't make housing pencil out in Strasburg. That did not used to be the case. The case is go to Brighton because it's affordable. Right now, Strasburg is kind of on the bubble of, is it going to be affordable for those folks? How do we get our student populations? How do we get our adult learners that want to upscale their current job into an industry that is better sustainable for their family, that pays a higher wage, that fulfills some of these gaps that we're seeing? We started in, not Adams County, but one of our partners, they're doing airplane captain training out at the Colorado Air and Spaceport. It's huge. It's all over social media. So if you have space in your budget for a paid intern, we're going to look at our budgets as we go forward. But the take-home message tonight is that we're all Team Adams County, that we're here to work for all of you. We appreciate everything that you do here in Adams County. Thank you for having your business here. We want to make this work. And so we're a winning team together. Thank you to Anythink Libraries. I failed to mention, our utilities are also here. So we have Tom Green, wears a number of hats. He's also with United Power. I saw Nathan with Excel Energy. He was in the back. I know some of our concerns, your concerns, is that the projects are great. Once you get in the ground, it's a different story. So we've seen that in Adams County for our own projects. Thank you, Brian, for the compliment. We want to help mitigate. We want to help be efficient, effective, and to be a winning team here in Adams County. We want to come back and do this again. We're already talking about next year of bumping it up a little bit. We'll look at the Broncos schedule, but again, thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it, and be safe on your travels home. So thank you so much.